It is time to get Southern Fried. Welcome in. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Happy Monday to y'all. You know what? Happy Monday. You know what? Can't nobody steal my pride. Can't nobody take my shine. Ain't nobody gonna hold me down. Oh no. We got to keep on moving. Y'all remember that song? It is your boy, JD Wyatt, Southern Fried Sports, the Southern Fried Gentleman. I appreciate you guys being here this evening. We have a ton of things to talk about this evening. What I do want y'all to know, as I just was saying, coming into the show, like I said, ain't nobody gonna take my shine. Ain't nobody gonna hold me down. All right, listen, this is my show. As a matter of fact, look, I got so busy, y'all. Dang, I forgot to put on a shirt. I had a nice little collared shirt I was gonna wear that I got for my birthday from my mom. Golly, JD, man, you struggling. You let people get under that thick skin of yours, which I'm here to tell you, it didn't really work. I just ran out of time. My little boys, man, they wanted a little hamburger steak. Actually, they wanted steak. There were no steaks in the house. So I improvised. That's what I do. I'm here to improvise. As I wait on one of the biggest guests to join me ever, let me bring y'all into something real quick. And y'all know I've got my experts segment, all right? And this is where I've given a lot of credit to my folks, my followers on Twitter, on X, whatever you want to call it. Experts was kind of my tribute to them. And man, I just want you guys to know that I announced this guest that I'm fixing to have like a week ago. And I've announced it numerous times. And not ever did I ever catch any flack for it until leading up to the show this evening. And everybody all of a sudden wanted to come out the woodwork. Well, guess what? All right. You can keep your opinions to yourself. I appreciate them. I look forward to having all of you guys give me your opinions and interact. But I'll promise you this, if they're negative, you can kick rocks. All right. Listen, I am a nobody. All right. I'm a nobody. And so if I get the opportunity to have a phenomenal guest on my show to talk about what all of you guys love, I'm going to take it. I'm not an idiot like the rest of the bottom 10 percenters who decided they wanted to come after me today. And you know what? Like I said, this is all about football. This is all about a good time. And as I say, I am the Southern Fried Gentleman. You can see it right there on the screen. Southern Fried Gentleman. It's called Southern Fried Sports. We're here to get fried. We're here to get cooked. We're here to have a good time. So if you want to come here and you want to be kind, and if you want to be blessed, and if you don't want to be stressed, this is the spot for you. But if you want to bring a bunch of negativity to the front door, this is the wrong tree to be barking up. All right. I'm going to put it to you like that. Look, I'm 5'6", 130 pounds soaking wet. But I do carry bouncers around. All right. I got a couple of 6'2", 220-pound friends. You know, we can handle business. I'm just kidding, y'all. I don't have no friends. I'm just kidding. I'm trying to make a few friends, trying to have a good time talking football. And so as I say that, my guest is here, y'all. He is a self-made man. He has things to do. He is the creator of not one, but two successful shows. I'm a huge fan I think he knows ball. I like to think I know ball. And I welcome Chris Phillips of SEC Unfiltered in right now. My man. Hey, let me check them. Let me see them eyes.
Yeah, no black eye to show, man. I'm sorry. It's I hate to be the bearer of bad news. I know there's many out there that probably wish they could have taken a swing at me on Saturday over the weekend, but no, JD, I appreciate you having me. I actually just subscribed to the channel. Highly encourage everybody else to do so. You're doing great work, man, and I appreciate you having me. But no, it's funny. We joke about that, and I think people get some sort of crazy idea off social media and the comments. And again, there's a lot of comments that a certain percentage of a certain fan base hates me. And I mean, dude, it's so funny. I wish people could be right there next to me because it's social media is not real life. The amount of love we felt on Saturday and over the weekend, and Gamecock fans wanting to take pictures and talk ball, and LSU fans alike too, but obviously lots of South Carolina fans, a lot of familiar faces, and I mean, it just goes to show that social media is not real life. So, social media turns a lot of cowards into those having bravery, but none of that stuff is real life, man. Like I said, so anyways, it's a pleasure to be on with you, man. I really appreciate it, and yeah, look forward to the conversation.
Absolutely, man. Well, hey, thank you obviously for your time, man. Like I said, I'm really much of a nobody. I even forgot to put on my dress shirt. I had, I was dealing with my kids and everything. I had a nice little dress shirt, I was gonna put on and everything, but no, I appreciate you taking time. And it's funny. Mike Tyson has that quote that the internet made it to where a lot of people can say a lot of things without getting punched in the face. And
yeah, that's valid. Yeah, that's valid. I mean, it's
yeah.
and I don't I don't have the energy that I wish had upon those people, but it's just I think when you're in the man, when you're in the sports realm and you're giving your opinion and you're standing on those things and you're being honest and genuine, and I think I realized too in my previous venture, the Spurs Up show, that there's not a lot of room to cover one collegiate team and be objective. There's just not. I think there's a lot of people that will just kind of say certain things to go along with the crowd and make sure they don't, no pun intended, ruffle any feathers or upset anyone. Even if they think the other thing, they think, well, I've got to be kind of that I've got to look at things through a certain tint and I've got to put a certain spin on things. And that was one of the reasons why I was able to build the following and build the business the way that I did, and why I was able to gain respect from so many people outside of just the South Carolina space. But it also sparked a lot of the madness that you see on social media. I think there's a lot of people that just can't stand what we've done and what we've built and where we are and where we're going. And it's funny, man, when you're or at least for me, when I was covering the team, there's many people that said, "Get out, we don't want you, leave." And I said, okay. And I picked up my ball and took it a different direction. And it's the best decision I ever made. But now those same people have told me I'm a traitor and I shouldn't have done that. And it's like, well, you just can't make up your mind. So listen, man, there's just some people out there that you really got to have empathy for people on the internet, man, that, if you can go out there and say certain things about certain people. And listen, I felt it last week, and I know we're not going to spend the entire conversation talking about this, but
no,
I really try to focus on the positive and the love, because there's so much of it. It's so immense. It's so many people have my back and support the business now with SEC Unfiltered, supported it before. Unfortunately, as human beings, we notice the hate, I think, more, and I work really hard not to do that. But no, it's all love, man. It's all fun. Honestly, man, JD, I'm just glad people care. I really, truly, I'm just glad people care. So
right, absolutely. That's a perfect. Yeah, I'm glad they care. Like I said, I announced it for a week or so, but yeah, we're not going to spend the entire conversation on this.
My guy Rowdy Rooster, man, good dude, really good dude. It's good to see him, man. Good to see him.
We've got a fan question coming up from Rowdy Rooster here in a bit. Mark Livingston, let's go. We got another one, Rowdy Rooster. Yep. And then he also told me I'm dumb. Oh no, here we go. He said I'm so dumb. Yeah, I know. All right, so Chris, let's dive in. We're gonna do a little Gamecock stuff to start off. Tell me, what was the atmosphere like, man? I know you were there early.
Mm-hmm.
I know. Give me just a quick synopsis of you at the Gamecock games this week, and maybe like a minute, and then I have a few questions I want to ask you about the game.
Yeah, so it's funny, man. I woke up Saturday morning at like 6:30 in the morning, and I woke up to a Snapchat of my buddies actually walking to college game day at like 5:30 a.m. And that's when I fired off the tweet. If anybody saw, I just simply posed the question that, am I washed? Because I can't imagine getting out there at 4:30 in the morning, 5 a.m., getting out the game day, whatever. Knew it was going to be a long day. Obviously had to pace ourselves, but I mean, dude, it was electric. It was great. From the moment we got out there to game day to wandering around the tailgates, went to Seawell's old stomping grounds, went to Gamecock Park, went to the fairgrounds, kind of wandered walked by the cockabooses, went all around. Was out there with my dad, who we celebrated his 57th birthday on Friday, so that was really cool and special to have my dad with me and take him to the game. And again, linked up with a lot of people I knew, checked out game day, got a lot of great footage that we're going to drop the vlog for the weekend on Wednesday. Got a lot of electric footage from the tailgates to game day to in the stadium, especially a lot of cool in-stadium. And then to the in-stadium atmosphere, JD, I'll tell anybody this, and I said this in the vlog too that'll drop on Wednesday, like I said. South Carolina, I will give so much credit because, again, I haven't been to every stadium. I'm making my way around the SEC this year. We're going to Auburn this weekend. We're going to go to a bunch of different other ones the rest of the way. But I really feel like I'm going to be hard-pressed to find anyone in the country, or anyone in the SEC at least, that does a better job with the in-game presentation, right? From the 2001 entrance, or really even beyond, but before that, the way the band kind of rolls things out, to the highlight videos, to 2001, right into Sandstorm, to toe meeting leather, and everything that's happening in the stadium. Like it is not just a football game. It feels like a big time event. And it really just rolled into what was the atmosphere on Saturday, JD, which I mean, listen, I knew it was going to be a good atmosphere, but you just never know at noon, right? It may not be quite what a night game atmosphere is, right? Like every SEC stadium you feel like is a little bit better at night. That was the best noon game atmosphere I've ever experienced in my entire life. I mean, that place, we love to throw around the word. It was a crazy atmosphere. The fans were rowdy. That place was an insane asylum. I mean, it was legitimately unhinged from start to finish. I mean, that was, JD, I'm not going to sit here and say it was the loudest game I've ever been to, but like that was as loud as any night game I've ever attended. And I've been to a lot of games at Williams-Brice Stadium. So, Gamecock Nation showed up, showed out. Gamecock Nation did their job, did their part. I mean, that atmosphere was electric. I mean, it's as good as you're going to get in college football. So, and I mean, I hated how the game turned out, obviously, but, I did love the fact we had a good game. This SEC Unfiltered tour we're on the first 2 weeks, I saw complete duds of games. Florida got blasted by Miami, and then Tennessee beat NC State 51-10. Games weren't even close in the second half. So I was kind of excited the fact we had a game that was sort of coming down to the wire, and it was, I mean, that was probably one of the craziest, if not the craziest, football game I've ever witnessed in person. I mean, just the dramatics, the up and down, the back and forth, the big plays, the drama, whether it be referee induced or it be on field, like whatever. That game had everything you could think of in it. It's unfortunate anybody had to lose that football game, and certainly it's unfortunate South Carolina had to, but had a blast, man. Columbia was a great experience. I'm glad I came, and look forward to the next time. You're muted, JD. Attaboy. There you go.
My bad. Sorry, I was like, I'm an amateur. My bad, y'all. I'm an amateur. But yeah, so you literally though were hitting on all of the things that I was talking about there. And this is where we're about to disagree. All right, everybody buckle up. We're about to disagree with Chris Phillips, because Chris Phillips said that it was a choke job. And I'm going to give you a few reasons why I think it's not. Beauty is in the banter, as you like to say.
I love it, man.
I love it. I'm going to say it wasn't a choke job because it was 17-0 in the second quarter. If it were the fourth quarter, yes, choke job, without a question. If you drop a 17-point lead in the fourth quarter, absolute choke job. I will say that it wasn't necessarily, if there was a choke job, it was the coaches and not the players. So did you notice there, though, 17-0 second quarter, the defensive play calling changed all of a sudden. It went from rushing 4 and 5 to rushing 3, dropping 9. And they literally worked their way down the field, and then bam, Sellers fumbles next drive. And now you're looking at, I said it was going to be 17-14 going to half. Mm-hmm. And then, which, by the way, I did call the Gamecocks having a heartbreaking loss by a field goal. Mm-hmm. And when I said that, I thought it was going to be LSU kicking a late field goal to win, not scoring a late touchdown to go up by a field goal to win. And so, I mean, with everything added in, though, the bad coaching decisions, QB1 getting hurt, did the terrible referee calling, man. They couldn't even get the numbers right most of the day. And so, to me, it's just really hard to call it a choke job. But I'm also not that one that's going to blame it on the refs. So, talk to me about what I'm saying. What do you think? How you feeling?
Well, I'll say this. For me to call it a choke, I don't think I'm giving LSU the credit they deserve. I think a lot of this week and last 48 hours is we got to look at it from both perspectives. I mean, I give LSU a lot of credit for, because when that punt was blocked, I thought that was game over. I remember looking at my dad saying that's ball game. That's ball game. It felt like, we all know the numbers, statistics. If you know anything about football, when you have a block kick, I think your winning percentage is like 88%. I mean, you very, very, very rarely lose a game that that you block a kick in. So, I mean, listen, that's the thing. When you look at this ball game, I think LSU made adjustments. I think absolutely what you're saying is South Carolina defensively changed it, but LSU made adjustments. They started attacking the middle of the field. They started doing what I thought they would do, pushing the football down the field, targeting Kyron Lacey, targeting Xavier Thomas. They were able to get hit some of those outside runs, which I thought was really, really surprising. I think South Carolina's defensive front is for real. I thought LSU's offensive line was able to hold their own for a lot of the day. Now, was that because they were holding guys? We can have that argument till we're blue in the face. I've seen all the pictures and everything. Holding can be called on every play, but certainly I think there were some that were probably pretty questionable. I agree with you. The referees were too active. There were way too many stoppages in that game. There were way too many flags thrown. There were way too many calls in that game.
I think total, we had 13 for 124 for the Gamecocks. And then I'm pretty sure LSU had at least 10 as well. And just more of the ones on LSU, though, were less game-changing in a sense. And the one with the LSU defensive line, Georgia did the same thing twice that same night against Kentucky. I guess it was because LSU was more...
You're talking about the delay of game, right?
Yeah, right.
So LSU got called. They got called for that twice against Southern Cal in the season opener, and they were pretty livid about it then. And I remember when it happened, I'm like, oh my gosh, my LSU guys are losing their minds right now over that call. But man, JD, I'll go straight to the point that I made today, and I've been saying for the last 48 hours or so. Listen, the referees are a talking point, a storyline in this game. There's no question. Number one, I think the play that was a horse collar was a horse collar. So I'm not even going to mention that one. That was a horse collar in my mind.
Okay.
Grabbed the back of the jersey, pulled him down from behind. Even if you don't think it, they're going to call that every time. They're going to call that play every single time. That, to me, is not even a debatable play. It's a horse collar. The one that in stadium looked a lot worse, the pick six by Nicky Manwari, that Garrett Nussmeier, Kyle Kennard puts the block on Garrett Nussmeier. I thought Garrett Nussmeier got decked. And so in stadium, it looked a lot worse in stadium. I'm thinking, man, that's a blindside block. They're going to call that every time. They're protecting the quarterback. Like, they're overly protecting these quarterbacks. They're going to call it every time. Get home, watch the replay. Not nearly as bad as it looked in person. I know he's looking the other way. If you look at the definition, I guess technically it was a blindside block. I know they didn't call that. They called it unnecessary roughness. That's one I'd rather the ref hold on to the flag. It's one I would rather the ref not throw that flag. Let him play. I think Garrett acted that up a little bit. Good on him. Smart play by him. I would rather them not throw that flag. I don't think that was a good call. I don't think they should. Because, again, both sides, whether you put the shoe on the other foot, like, I think LSU fans would be complaining if it was roles reversed. Like, it's such a ticky-tack call. There were so many ticky-tack calls in this game. Pass interferences, the offensive PI, which was phantom. But the only point I made, JD, is that, yes, that would have been a game-changing play. Absolutely it would have. But you know what? It didn't happen. South Carolina still should have won. They had every opportunity to win. They still should have won. And so from the standpoint, the only point I made was just as a fan, you'd rather look at it as there are correctables. There are things that can be fixed going into Akron, going into the bye, going into Ole Miss. There's hope that certain things can be fixed and corrected. And so when you get in that position again, even if you get screwed again, you can find a way to win the game instead of going down the stretch and finding a way to lose it the way they did. That's it. The refs are not the only reason you lost the football game, right?
Right.
Like LSU, we can play this what if game. We can play it till we're blue in the face. What if Garrett Nussmeier, he says that apparently South Carolina induced the snap when he wasn't ready. They said something, barked something out to make his center snap the football, hits him right in the face. South Carolina recovers. LSU can say, well, what if we convert on 4th and inches from the inch line? At 4th and goal from the inch line. What if we were able to punch the ball in? Like, we can play this whole hypothetical thing all we want. But South Carolina in this football game had opportunities to put their foot on LSU's throat and put them away. And they couldn't do it. I'm just not – when the roles are reversed and opposing fans are complaining about refs, those are the fans you make fun of. I'm just not going to be one of those guys, man. I don't care about – let's have the conversation about the referees. My only point, though, was that's not the only reason. And this isn't a South Carolina conversation. There's many teams across the conference or across the country this past weekend that were all complaining about refs. And there were a lot of controllables that they could have made certain plays or done certain things that they didn't do it. So, again, you're up 17-0 at home. If you don't want to call it a choke and that's a little aggressive, fine. But that game was in your grasp. That was your game to win, and you allowed LSU to steal it from you. And I know plenty of people are going to bark and say, the refs stole it from you. You know why that's happening, JD? Because people are just so damn scared to put any blame on the players or the coaches. Trust me, bro, I felt this for years. Because for the most diehard of diehard fans, the players are like their kids and the coaches are like their family. And I get it. You don't want to pin anything on them because you feel like it's blasphemous. Bro, this is professional sports at this point. Like, my God, they're getting paid hundreds of thousands of dollars to go out there and make plays. We can't be critical of a kid. We can't be critical of a player. We can't just be honest about what we're watching. I'm not even singling out any one individual. It was a team loss. But as a team, you were up 17-0, dominating in every facet. Bro, I don't give a damn what the referees did or what they took away or what have you. Guess what? I don't know why we're not talking about this. Yes, you took away the pick six. That was detrimental. That was a big play. South Carolina got the football. They were in control, could have gone down the field and scored. Instead, they fumble in their own territory.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, the game was in their hands. South Carolina was in control of the football game, couldn't close it out. Ball don't lie. I mean, you want to play that game, ball don't lie. Ball don't lie. That's all I'm saying. So if you don't want to call it a choke, fine. But South Carolina, that was their game to win, and they couldn't close it out. And I'm as frustrated as hell as anybody. I'm just not somebody that's going to go out here and we're going to spend an hour on a call-in show, an hour on a recap, and we're only going to talk about the rest. The shame about it, JD, that was a great football game that I'd love to dissect and talk about, but the only thing anybody wants to talk about is the refs. So,
right. Yeah, well, I mean, how about Sellers going 75 yards untouched? How about Rocket Sanders? Man, there were tons of individual efforts. Eamon Worry came up big plays.
That's what's too, JD, getting lost in all this. There's so many positives from the South Carolina side to take away that nobody wants to talk about. Because we're on Monday, and there's still South Carolina media guys posting clips from the game of look at this non-call.
Yeah.
Let's talk about the highlights of the game. Let's talk about Rocket Sanders' breakout game. Lenora Sellers with a 75-yard touchdown run. He looks more and more confident with each passing drop.
He does.
There are things to talk about besides the refs.
Yeah. And see, timeout. Yeah, timeout. So we've already talked about this game to a nauseum. Right. I didn't want to get into this much of it with you, but it's fantastic conversation, man. I appreciate you being here. I will say, that was a Super Bowl. I wish the Super Bowl could have that type of drama, back and forth game. And I think we have. I think a lot of focus has been placed on referees in previous years. Let's focus on some different referees real quick. How about the referees of the highways? And what is it with Georgia that, oh my goodness gracious, they still can't stop speeding? Sophomore defensive back pulled over 106 miles per hour on a wet road. How can they be so disciplined on the football field, but not on the highway? Chris, please explain.
Yeah, it's inexcusable. I mean, I think that, and everybody's going to want to pin it on Kirby. I think they've done everything they can. At some point, there's got to be accountability in the building. There's got to be accountability within the guys in the locker room. you would think it would click after one of your teammates and a staffer dies. You wouldn't think that it would continue to be a recurring issue over and over again, and yet it is. So it's JD, I don't have an answer for you of what's got to change, because every time this happens, like, what has to change other than guys have just got to take accountability. There's got to be accountability taken with the locker room. Where is the leadership in the locker room? And I understand, even if you have great leaders, you can't force guys to do things. You can't hold their hands. Guys are going to make their own decisions, but and every program has guys that get in trouble. Like, it just is what it is, man. Guys are going to make bad decisions. They're going to get caught. It's part of it, but nobody's having it to this level. It's embarrassing for Georgia. It's not something where I see people saying, well, if it continues, like, Kirby Smart could lose his job. And maybe if it resulted in something really, really bad, like we got over a year and a half ago, like, maybe it could. But like, I call it a minor incident. These incidents aren't going to result in him getting fired, but it's a bad look for your program. I mean, it's embarrassing, and there's just the only thing that can stop it, again, is accountability, and everybody in that locker room taking accountability. Because, again, Kirby Smart and his staff, I mean, unless they're going to bring on Uber as the next NIL partner and nobody's driving anywhere, like, guys are going to continue to drive cars, and it's up to them to be responsible. I mean, there's only so much they can do. So,
Right.
guys in the locker room, man, they got to be accountable.
Yeah, well, or maybe their next NIL could be segways or mopeds, golf carts, maybe even some that doesn't go over 40 miles an hour would maybe be the best route
Maybe
to go.
so. Maybe so.
What did you think, though? Here, we'll go rapid fire. What did you think about their nail biter in like 30 seconds? I know you got to get out of here. 30 seconds. What did you think of the Georgia-Kentucky nail biter?
Yeah, JD, I'm not overreacting. Georgia has one of these games every single year. Kirby mentioned it after the game. I mean, last year it was Auburn. A couple years ago it was Missouri on the road. I think Georgia offensively, it was a really sloppy game. Really sloppy game. I think there's nobody who likes it, though, more than Kirby. I think he actually low-key likes these kind of games. I think he, to get his guys motivated and fired up, and I think for Georgia it's pretty easy to feel like we're better than everybody, and not necessarily we can roll the helmets out there, but we're superb to every competition, and maybe we don't have to put in the exact effort or focus that we do for an Alabama week or an LSU week or what have you. So, again, I'm not overreacting to Georgia having a sloppy SEC road win. I think South Carolina probably made Kentucky look worse than they really are. They've got elite defensive personnel. I think you saw it in that game, but I'm not overreacting to Georgia. I think they're going to be fine. That's why I kept them number one in my power rankings. They won the ball game. There's no such thing as a bad SEC road win. I know how good Texas looks and Tennessee looks, and I'm extremely high on Ole Miss, but I'm not dropping Georgia out of the one spot just yet.
All right, I hear you. So Ole Miss number 2 in your power ranking?
Texas number 2. Texas number 2. Ole Miss number 3.
That's the
Tennessee
next one
number 4, and then Bama 5 is my top 5.
Okay, I got you. So yeah, that was the next one I was going to mention, though, was Arch Manning in Texas. Yep. What do you make of Arch Manning finally getting some playing time? And what do you think about what he was able to do? And how did you feel about Texas? Even if Quinn comes back in a couple of weeks, I think Arch can carry the torch. But what about long term? Could Arch carry that torch?
I think Arch could if he had to. I mean, I think it's unfortunate the way he's getting out there. Obviously, you hate to see Quinn Ewers go down with the injury, but it's, talking to my Texas guys, it's nothing long term. It's 2 to 3 weeks with the ab injury, and it couldn't have happened if it was going to happen, JD. It couldn't happen at a better time. You had the game against UTSA. They've got ULM this week. Then they got Mississippi State. Then they've got a bye week. So it's kind of a win-win for them, man. I mean, we know Arch Manning's got great talent, but he just hadn't really gotten a whole lot of the live bullets. Looked great against UTSA. He's going to get to start and play the entire ULM game. We'll see about Mississippi State, but that's an opponent that's really, really manageable that he should be able to have a lot of success against and continue to build confidence. And then when Quinn comes back, I mean, you have 2 great quarterbacks. I mean, Arch Manning, there's plenty of schools he'd probably be starting at. So it's an embarrassment of riches for Texas across the board. That includes the quarterback position. I think it's the best quarterback room in the country, and I think you're seeing why, because Arch Manning is as good as any starter, I think you could argue, at least right now. I mean, we haven't seen him in some big-time games, but he's got as much talent as any starter in this league. So, listen, if Quinn was out for the year, and knock on wood he's not, I don't want to see that. Obviously, nobody does, but I think he's got enough talent to carry Texas. There's some people out there that think Texas is better with him under center because of his mobility, what he does with his legs, but they're in a great position. Great position. There's no question.
Well, first of all, when I saw that a Manning went for a 75-yard scamper for a touchdown, I was already impressed.
Mhm.
I was already thoroughly impressed at that point. I mean, when have we ever heard of Eli or Peyton? I mean, yeah, they could maneuver a little bit, but all of a sudden you've got this Manning, and not to mention he's one of the top 3 NIL valued players
Mhm.
in all of college football. So, man, yeah, that was tremendous to see. Let me leave you with this one, Chris. I know you got to run. We'll be real quick. Billy Napier, Florida. Is he fired yet? Is he not? I've seen reports. What are you hearing, and what do you think?
Well, as of Monday, September the 16th at 8:30 p.m. Eastern, Billy Napier is not fired yet, JD. I do not think it'll happen this week. He had his Monday press conference. They've got Mississippi State upcoming this weekend. I think for Florida, probably the biggest thing is trying to get your ducks in a row and just figure out, are they going to get rid of Scott Strickland, the athletic director? What's the situation with the president? Who's going to be the interim? That's a huge question to answer. I don't know who would be the interim head coach. And because, I mean, you're not going to hire the head coach that you want realistically, JD, until, God, December. I mean, the guy you probably want, let's face it, he's probably going to be in the college football playoff. So, it hasn't happened yet. I think it's imminent. I would be surprised if Billy Napier is still the head coach by probably said the Tennessee game. That's probably the longest I would give him. So, I mean, if they lose to Mississippi State, it could happen next week. And if they lose to UCF, it'll happen by that Monday. I can guarantee you.
Yeah, well, I'm looking at them to win maybe Mississippi State this week. Maybe, I don't know. I'm really torn. I mean, to think though that Gamecocks wanted Napier. And Chris, I know you got to run, man. Hey, listen, we could talk about SEC football all day. I know that we are acquaintances, but I hope that we can be friends, and I hope that you can come back and be a Southern Fried gentleman with me in the future, young man.
JD, anytime, man. Always a pleasure chatting with you, and really appreciate you having me on, my man. Truly,
Hey,
we'll do it anytime.
No, dude, I appreciate you giving me the time. You have, listen, you have helped inspire me. I called you and Mark, and y'all have kind of given me this itch. That's why I'm doing this. And so, yeah, much respect to you. Salutations, young gentlemen. You have a blessed rest of the season.
Anything you need from me, JD, any help or anything, advice, what have you, or just want to talk some ball, man, I'm here.
I certainly do appreciate that. You know I will take you up on that offer. Listen, I've got tons of comments over here. I know you're going to run, but Peanut, BTR, Posse, we got Rowdy Rooster. Oh, yeah, hey, NFL fandom. Who is your NFL team for Rowdy Rooster before you go?
JD, I hate to disappoint, man. I don't have a team that I can
I knew
really
you were going to say
stake
that.
claim to.
I knew you were going to say
my grandfather and dad, they did and do pull for the Dolphins. Not like to a crazy diehard fan, but that's who they pulled for. So growing up, I kind of favored the Dolphins, if you will. But, I lived in Charlotte for 4 years, and I kind of bandwagon on the Panthers when they made the Super Bowl. But I don't have, I'm not going to – I can't stake claim to a team when, there's not a team out there that I'm like, my closet's filled with Panthers stuff or Dolphins or whatever. So I stay so locked in on the college stuff, man. That's an NFL. I kind of just watch for fun.
I honestly, that's how I was going to word the question. I was going to say, do you have an NFL fandom, or are you just too locked in on college football? I kind of had that feeling you were going to say that. What about a baseball fandom? How about that?
Braves. I'm a Braves guy for sure. Yeah.
Hey, well, I cover some Braves. We probably ain't gonna make the playoffs.
It's been an up and down year, man. Injuries kill.
They do. So. Yeah. Well, hey, and I'm thankful so far the Gamecocks haven't done that. I had so many questions though that I didn't get to with you. So again, man, hey, I will be in touch, and more than welcome here anytime. Thank you for coming. You go do the rest of your responsibilities, and let's watch some Monday Night Football.
Yes, sir. JD, we'll do it again soon, man. Thank you so much. Appreciate it.
Be blessed.
Yeah, man.
Hey, ladies and gentlemen, Chris Phillips of SEC Unfiltered. He has other obligations he has to get to. Holy smokes, what a great conversation. Let me get to a couple of comments over here. Bruin Nation, thank you for being here. Mark Livingston, I love your show, Chris. He called you today. I will get that message over to him. We, of course, had Rowdy Rooster in the house. Let me get down to some newer comments here, though. Let's see here. What we got? What we going to talk about? Peanut BTR Posse. SEC officiating is and always has been a good old boy network whose job is to protect the bigger asset. That's the only reason Georgia beat Kentucky. So, Peanut, is that the only reason that LSU beat South Carolina as well? I will accept that premise if you agree with me. Rowdy Rooster, the fact we even showed up is awesome. Most of these big games, we get walked outside. I find happiness in seeing us get better every week, honestly. I do too. It's a long season. I mean, we're only 25% of the way in. Now, yes, it does go by very quickly. Before we know it, we will be without football again. In all honesty, if you don't believe me, just try to watch a couple of kids grow up and find out how fast football season flies by. And so, yeah, the Gamecocks have played their best football later on in the season. We improved later on in the season under Beamer's first year, upsetting Tennessee and Clemson. Yeah, you can say we cheated. I don't care what you call it. Win is a win, is a win. But hey, I appreciate everybody being here. And then I got Bruin Nation. Let me see what Bruin Nation says. Why didn't Rocket get the ball after scoring the long TD drive? Yep. Yeah, I saw that. And then we go 3 and out the next drive. As much as it was the referee's fault, I'm not willing to not place blame on the coaching staff. I'm just not. I'm not going to. As many great things as there were in that game, there was no one play that really cost us that game. LSU had bad calls. We had bad calls. I think it was a dogfight. If anybody thought that we were about to boat race LSU, you're mistaken. I mean, yeah, we were up 17-0. Yeah, we were. But if you thought we were about to boat race LSU, you must be outside your mind. Let's see here, we had a volunteer fan. Being up 17-0 is y'all's fault, not the refs, South Carolina. What about that butt kicking y'all got down here in Carolina a couple years ago, bro? Was that the sand's fault? Or was that the wristband's fault? Or was that Spencer Rattler throwing for not 1, not 2, not 3, not 4, but 5 touchdowns? Move along, sir. Peanut. If the UGA receiver ended up hauling in that catch, there's no way they overturn it. But because it resulted in a critical pick 6 for Kentucky, indisputable evidence went out the window. I'm glad you said that, Peanut, because here's my thing. If we make these college athletes get on a podium and speak about their bad plays during a game, or the coaches even, why are the officiating referees or sideline umps or back judge or whatever you want to call them, whatever all their positions are, why ain't they got to come ask questions? Why? They're adults. They can handle it. Just like I can handle a little bit of flack for having a guest on my show. Which, by the way, I absolutely appreciate everybody being here. Chris Phillips, Rowdy Rooster, Peanut, Bruin, Mark, everybody. Let me see. What else we got here? Oh, Peanut's still back. He wants video, indisputable video evidence on that play. I tell you what, Peanut, once I get done with my show, I'll see if I can't help you out. not to find indisputable video evidence, but to prove your claim. As I said, I am here to unite the people. I am the Southern Fried Gentleman, Rowdy Rooster. Love you, Chris. Miss you, bro. The Discord was popping back in the day. You want to know what else was popping back in the day? A lot of Lil Wayne music. What else we got? Oh my goodness, I got so many comments. Mark Livingston, go Phillies. Get out of here, man. He said go Braves. Chris Phillips said go Braves. Oh, go Eagles. Nope. I think my fantasy team won already, so I'm good though. Jamie Johnson, how's your fantasy team doing? What you got to say? Mark Stoops should search for his manhood. Oh, man, I like it. Mark Stoops should search for his manhood. You can't be 3rd and 8 at midfield, throw an incomplete pass, and then punt in that game. You play to win the game. Right, Jamie? You play to win the game. Man, that made me giggle. I've had a great day, y'all. This has been fantastic. Let's see. Rowdy Rooster. I agree. I'm not going to say that one, but I agree. He's a cat. Oh, did we see Tua? No, we didn't. Nope. Already said he's not going to retire, Jamie. Did we see Tua take his last NFL snap? No, I don't think we did. And then let's see, we got Peanut coming back. I didn't really watch much of the LSU SC game, just scoreboard watching while I run errands. Hey, Peanut, man, listen, if you think there were some bad calls in your game, bro, I implore you, just go back. You can Google it, I'm sure, at this point. You could probably just Google all bad plays SC LSU. It was rough. It was rough. There were 24 penalties, I think it was, between both teams. You be the judge. Y'all be the judge. All right. I try to be unbiased. I am a fan. But as I've learned, the older I get, I try not to let these things affect my mood that much. It's a football game. All right. At the end of the day, it's a football game. It's a football team. What really matters in life doesn't have anything to do with whether or not you won that football game, that volleyball game, that baseball game. What matters at the end of the day is caring for other people and being humble and being kind and being a gentleman or being a lady or helping someone who needs help. And so again, back to the way I started this show. Y'all can try to come after me for having a guest on my show all you want. Again, thank you to Chris Phillips. I much appreciate you having my time or giving me some time. But you're not going to get under my skin and try to pretend like you know who I am just because you see a few tweets on the internet. If you want to come see who I really am, I welcome you to do so. You can send me your number if you ever need anybody to talk to. If you're a man that struggles with depression, a woman even, whomever, you can come talk to me. I'm a nobody. I'm not a sports media person. I'm just regular old JD coming to talk to you about life's real things. Yeah, it's football season right now, so yeah, it's mostly football. But at the end of the day, I care about you as a human. I care about you as a person. I can respect your opinions. And to me, at the end of the day, that is what matters most. All right? That is what matters most. So whenever you type out a tweet or type out a Facebook message, just be mindful of what you're saying. Think about it for a minute. Say, would I say this to that person's face? And if the answer is no, don't send it. If you're not brave enough to say it to their face, don't say it on the freaking internet. Bang, bang. Sorry. Y'all just got me mad for a minute. Let's see here. Let me get a few more comments. I got that one. Let's see. Rowdy Rooster. I was watching that live, Jamie. It was scary. Can't handle a routine hit on the bicep. How about the crazy part of that hit from Tua was that it was Damar Hamlin. Damar Hamlin was the one that delivered that hit, who was just dead on the football field 2 years ago. That was really ironic to me. I don't know about you guys. Peanut. I think Stoops has zero confidence in Vandegrift. Justifiably so. I think that became evidently clear against South Carolina. But hey, man, for y'all to have the game against y'all that y'all had against South Carolina and then come back and play against Georgia that way, I've asked the question. Is Clemson closer to South Carolina and Kentucky in roster, or are they closer to Georgia? And so I think Georgia has a far supreme roster in a few positions above Clemson, Kentucky, and South Carolina. And so to play with them in a game, listen, I had South Carolina in a toss-up, losing to Kentucky. That's where I got my original 4-8. And Kentucky was technically only our 5th win. We still got to find 2 to 3 more, whether it be Oklahoma, Texas A&M, or Missouri. So we're only 25% of the way in, y'all. Let's get Rowdy Rooster. Just watch. We will be fine. We are getting better every week. No doubt about it. Look here. I got my man Paxton. Say hello, Paxton. Say I'm a gentleman. You're a gentleman, man.
Night.
Good night. I love you. My boy's getting ready for bedtime. I'm on a little longer than anticipated. Might get my man Trip in here. Let's see. Jamie, yeah, man. Hey, we haven't played golf in a while. We need to do that. I still got my golf cart, upstate golf cart. I think I got a round at Tryon, Carolina Springs. I struggle on the golf course. Can we talk about that? Yeah, we can talk about it over a round of golf. We got my other gentleman here. Say, I'm a Southern Fried Gentleman.
I'm a Southern Fried Gentleman.
Say good night, y'all.
Good night.
All right, good night. All right, y'all. Hey, like I said, this is real life. This is me doing my stuff. Rowdy Rooster, last comment. Stop breaking lifts at work. And y'all killing my brat. I ain't break no lifts, man. I know how to drive. I'm too busy out there working on my own car. Peanut, amen. Rowdy Rooster, Pax attacks. Old lady gave you that get off the internet look. Hey, big facts. Big facts. All right, so Braves, we're going to miss the playoffs. I hate to say it. Going to happen. NASCAR playoffs. About to get good. Southern Fried Sports. Like I said, y'all don't judge me. Y'all don't know me. I appreciate all of you being here. Y'all are the best. Chris Phillips had tons of great content. I look forward to seeing y'all on Thursday at 8 p.m. Rowdy Rooster, can't wait to see you in here, my friend. But as I say, y'all be blessed, not stressed. And for one last time, be kind, dang it. And I will see y'all soon. Much love.